And we will finish up Joshua tonight, 21 through 24. Now the family heads of the Levites approached Eleazar, the priest of Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the other tribal families of Israel at Shiloh in Canaan, and said to them, "The Lord commanded through Moses that you give us towns to live in, with pasture lands for our livestock." So as the Lord had commanded, the Israelites gave the Levites the following towns and pasture lands out of their own inheritance. The first lot came out of the Kohathites, according to their clans. The Levites, who were descended of Aaron, the priest, were allotted 13 towns from the tribe of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin. The rest of the Kohathites' descendants were allotted 10 towns. The rest of the Kohathites' descendants were allotted 10 towns from the clans of the tribes of Ephraim, Dan, and the half of Manasseh. The descendants of Gershon were allotted 13 towns from the clans of the tribes of Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, and the half-tribe of Manasseh in Bashan. The descendants of Merari, according to their clans, received 12 towns from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. So the Israelites allotted to the Levites these towns and their pasture lands, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. From the tribes of Judah and Simeon they allotted the following towns by name. These towns were assigned to the descendants of Aaron, who were from the Kohathite clans of the Levites, because the first lot fell to them. They gave them Kiriath Arba, which is Hebron, with its surrounding pasture land in the hill country of Judah. Arba was the forefather of Anak, but the villages around the city they had given to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as his possession. So the descendants of Aaron the priest, they gave Hebron, a city of refuge for one of the accused of murder, Libnah, Jatir, Eshtemoa, Holoth, Debir, Ain, Juttah, and Beth Shemesh, together with their pasture lands, 9 towns from these 2 tribes. And from the tribe of Benjamin they gave them Gibeon, Geba, Anathoth, and Almon, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. The total number of towns for the priests, the descendants of Aaron, came to 13, together with their pasture lands. The rest of the Kohathite clans of the Levites were allotted towns from the tribe of Ephraim. In the hill country of Ephraim, they were given Shechem, a city of refuge for one accused of murder, and Gezer, Gibzaim, and Beth Horon, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. Also, from the tribe of Dan, they received Etkekah, Gibeathoth, Ahajalon, Gath-Rimmon, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From the half-tribe of Manasseh, they received Tanach and Gath-Rimmon, together with their pasture lands, 2 towns. All these 10 towns and their pasture lands were given to the rest of the Kohathite clans. The Levite clans of the Gershonites were given from the half-tribe of Manasseh, Golan and Bashan, a city of refuge for one accused of murder, and Be'esaroth, together with their pasture lands, 2 towns. From the tribe of Issachar, Kishon, Daberath, Jarmuth, and En-Ganim, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From the tribe of Asher, Mishal, Abdon, Heklah, and Rehob, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From the tribe of Naphtali, Kadesh in Galilee, a city of refuge for one accused of murder, Hamath-Dor, and Cataran, together with their pasture lands, 3 towns. The total number of towns of the Gershonite clans came to 13, together with their pasture lands. The Merarite clans, the rest of the Levites, were given from the tribe of Zebulun, Jochim, Karta, Dimnah, Nahalal, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From the tribe of Reuben, Bezer, Jahaz, Kedemoth, and Mephath. From the tribe of Gad, Ramoth and Gilead, a city of refuge for one accused of murder, Ahalanim, Hezron, and Jazer, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns in all. The total number of towns allotted to the Merarite clans, came to 12. The towns of the Levites in the territory held by Israelites were 48 in all, together with their pasture lands, each of these towns and pasture lands surrounding it. This was true for all of these towns. So the Lord gave Israel all their ancestors and took possession of it and settled there. The Lord gave them rest on every side, just as he had sworn to their ancestors. Not one of their enemies withstood them. The Lord gave all their enemies. None of the Lord's good promises to Israel failed. Every one was fulfilled. Chapter 22. Then Joshua summoned the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, and said to them, You have done all that Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded, and you have obeyed me in everything I commanded. For a long time, to this very day, you have not deserted your fellow Israelites, but have carried out the mission of the Lord your God gave you. Now that the Lord your God has given them rest, as he promised, return to your homes in the land that the Moses, servant of the Lord, gave you on the other side of the Jordan. But be very careful to keep the commandment and law that Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you, to walk in obedience to him, to keep his commands, and to hold fast to him and serve him with all your heart and with all your soul. Then Joshua blessed them and sent them away, and they went to their homes. To the half-tribe of Manasseh, Moses had given them of the tribe, Joshua gave land on the west side of the Jordan, along with their fellow Israelites. When Joshua sent them home, he blessed them, saying, Return to your homes with your great wealth, with large herds of livestock, with silver, gold, bronze, and iron, and a great quantity of clothing, and divide the plunder from your enemies with your fellow Israelites. So the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh left the Israelites at Shiloh in Canaan and returned to Gilead, their own land, which they had acquired in accordance with the command of the Lord through Moses. When they came to Galeoth near Jordan in the land of Canaan, the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh built an imposing altar there by the Jordan. And when the Israelites heard that they had built an altar on the border of Canaan at Galeoth, near the Jordan on the Israelite side, the whole assembly of Israel gathered at Shiloh to go to war against them. So the Israelites sent Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, to the land of Gilead, to Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. With him they sent 10 of the chief men, one from each of the tribes of Israel, each the head of the family division among the Israelite clans. When they went to Gilead, to Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, they said to them, The whole assembly of the Lord says, How could you break faith with God of Israel like this? How could you turn away from the Lord and build yourselves an altar in rebellion against him now? Was not the sin of Peor enough for us? Up to this very day we have not cleansed ourselves, even though a plague fell on the whole community of the Lord. And now you are turning away from the Lord? If you rebel against the Lord today, tomorrow he will be angry with the whole community of Israel. If the land you possess is defiled, come over to the Lord's land where the Lord's tabernacle stands and share the land with us. But do not rebel or against us by building an altar for yourselves, other than the altar of the Lord our God. When Achan, son of Zerah, was unfaithful in regard to devoted things in the whole community of Israel, he was not the only one who died for his sin. Then Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh replied to the heads of the clans of Israel, The mighty one, God, the Lord. The mighty one, God, the Lord. Israel know. If this has been disobedience to the Lord, do not spare us this day. If we have built our own altar to turn away from the Lord and to offer burnt offerings and grain offerings, or to sacrifice fellowship offerings on it, may the Lord himself call us to account. No. We did it out of fear that someday your descendants might say to ours, What do you have to do with the Lord, the God of Israel? The Lord has made the Jordan a boundary between us and you. You Reubenites and Gadites, you have no share in the Lord, so your descendants might cause ours to stop fearing the Lord. That is why we said, Let us get ready and build an altar, but not for burnt offerings or sacrifices, to be a witness between us and you and the generations that follow, that we will worship the Lord at his sanctuary with our burnt offerings, sacrifices, and fellowship offerings. Then in the future, you have no share in the Lord. And we said, if they ever say this to us, or to our descendants, we will answer, Look at the replica of the Lord's altar, which our ancestors built, not for burnt offerings and sacrifices, but as a witness between us Far be it from us to rebel against the Lord and turn away from him today by grain offerings and sacrifices other than the altar of the Lord our God that stands before this tabernacle. When Phinehas the priest and the leaders of the community, the heads of the clans of the Israelites, heard what Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh had to say, they were pleased. And Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, Gad and Manasseh, today we know that the Lord is with us, because you have not been unfaithful to the Lord in this matter. Now if you have rescued the Israelites from the Lord's hand. Then Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, and the leaders returned to Canaan from their meeting with the Reubenites and the Gad, and reported to the Israelites. They were glad to hear the report and praised no more about going to war against them to devastate the country where the Reubenites and the Gadites lived. And the Reubenites